I know we still have a few people logging on to join us, but I wanted to go ahead and get started by welcoming to everybody to today's webinar, Make Every Driver Marketing Dollar Count. I'm Gabby Parker, and I'm here with Sylvia Mays and Sarah Young, two of our job store experts. For everyone who has made time in their busy day with us to be today, welcome and thank you for hanging out with us for the next hour or so. We hope that this webinar will leave you feeling ready to move faster and better connected with your drivers. But before we get to that, I just have a few housekeeping items I wanted to go over. This webinar will be recorded and sent to you within the next 24 hours, so don't worry if you get interrupted or have to jump off the call. You'll get the recording tomorrow so you can review it at your convenience. Next, I wanted to let you all know that we will be doing a Q&A session at the end. So please feel free to use the questions section of the GoToWebinar panel to ask questions at any time throughout the webinar, so we can answer them at the end. With all that out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the mic over to Sylvia and Sarah and let them get this show on the road.
Awesome. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone is staying warm. I know it's been a polar vortex out there, but we appreciate you taking the time out of the day to join us today. We're really excited to talk with you about the job store today. My name is Sarah Young, and I'm going to be one of your hosts today. I'm a job store concierge advisor here at Tenstreet. I've been with Tenstreet for actually coming up on 5 years, and I'm joined today with by my wonderful colleague, Sylvia Mays. Hello, Sylvia. And before we dive in, I'm going to walk you through a quick roadmap of what to expect on our job store journey today. We got a lot to cover, really excited to get started. So we're going to kick things off by talking a little bit about what the job store is, some of the advantages to using the job store. And then I'm going to be doing a live demonstration of how to navigate and get started in the job store, including how to build your first active job. And then we'll close out the webinar by talking about some other tools and functionality in the job store, as well as job store concierge. And then finally ending with a Q&A session to answer any and all questions you might have. So with that all being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get the party started. So what is the job store? In short terms, the job store is a one-stop shop for all things advertising within your Tenstreet dashboard. This is where the lead generation magic is gonna happen, guys. And so let's talk a little bit about some of the advantages to using the job store and how utilization can set you up for success and set you apart. So you're going to hear me say this a lot today, one-stop shop, and that's truly the epitome of the job store. We have integrations with a really diverse amount of job boards. You know, things like Indeed, social media like Facebook, as well as our very own Pulse Match, which we're going to spend a good deal of time talking about today. So it gives you the ability to easily diversify your ads all within the one-stop shop that is Tenstreet. We have our merchant discovery tool, which is giving you transparency into how different job boards are performing depending on what type of job you're advertising. We have uniform messaging. Again, my favorite phrase of the day, one-stop shop. We can create, revise, tweak ads all in one place without ever having to leave the Tenstreet environment. And this will reflect on all job boards. Easy admin. And I mean, it's pretty easy to use, guys. With a couple clicks, you can go ahead and get your ad posted with Tenstreet, and then all of those applications are just going to flow right back into your dashboard. So very easy setup and usage. Budget control. I think we all know how important it is to keep within the confines of our budget. So there's no surprise invoices or receipts or anything. And so ad budgets are always going to be optimized at a full calendar month of visibility here in the job store. Lead application conversion, another one of my favorite words, right? The goal is to get the IntelliApp. And so in working with you and using the job store, we can set you up for success by putting together a strategy to bring you a higher volume of full applications straight out of the gate, therefore arming your recruiters for success. Concierge assistants. We are the ad ladies here with you today. And so we are here to act as a full service in-house option to managing the job store. It can be tricky, you know, to know exactly what's going to work best where and how can you best optimize those ad dollars. So we're here to take the guessing game out of all of that and help you set up and fix up your ad, optimize it for better response, and also have just frequent check-ins to make sure that all of your ad dollars are going to platforms that we're seeing success with. Analytics for all my numbers people here. Automatic reporting is something that you get with the job store, and it's incredibly easily accessible, not only for the current month, but we can look back historically to compare results over time. And last but certainly not least, origins. So this will give you a holistic overview of your ad spend versus your outcome. So essentially your return on investment. So we can take a look at your application volume and response at each stage of your hiring process. And better yet, we can go ahead and use data visualization to kind of make it a little bit more easily consumable for all of us here who like to look at a chart instead of the raw data. And we have a wonderful origins team who can also have monthly data review meetings just to make sure that we're setting up a really cost-effective ad placement campaign. And so with that being said, I talked about the advantages. That segues us now into a live demonstration on my demo dashboard where I'm going to walk you through how to navigate the job store and give you hopefully some good tips and tricks along the way. So bear with me, and I'm going to share my screen. All right. All righty. So I have just now pulled up the job store here. And to get to the job store from your homepage, if anyone's following along on their screen, you're going to come up here to Tools in the upper left-hand corner, and then click on the little shopping cart, which is the job store. And so we're going to start with this main job store tab right here. And this is where you're going to be able to place your ads, again, with the click of just a few buttons. I'm going to scroll down. And as you can see here, we integrate with a multitude of different advertising platforms. You might see some familiar faces as I scroll down the vendor list here. We have a really diverse mix of job boards, including single carrier lead sources, multi-carrier lead sources, and of course, our very own pay-per-application platform here called Pulse Match, which is going to allow you to leverage and tap into our extensive driver pulse network. I'll be doing a much deeper dive into the power of Pulse Match here in a few minutes, so bear with me while we touch on a couple other features before that. So here at the very top of the job store tab, you're going to see January account details, which is where we can keep track of budget. So in regards to paying for your ads, we actually have two methods of payment available. We can either add a credit card on file, pay up front with that card, or if you prefer, we can set you up with a line of credit so that instead of paying up front, you'll be invoiced for all job store charges. So below our January account details here, we have our merchant discovery tool. So here at Tenstreet, we're always striving to keep refining the data that we believe is helpful when deciding which vendor to use in the job store. It can be a tricky decision. We have a lot of different platforms. And so with that in mind, we created our merchant discovery tool. So up here where it says active job, now you can actually select your specific active job and see the past 60 days of metrics for that job. I'm going to pick our Beagle Hauler job because we love dogs. As you can see here, that switched to a regional company driver position. And so down here, you're going to see some stars, and you're going to see some dollar signs over here, and then you're going to see the list of merchants here to the left. So these stars, let's talk about that first. What we're showing here is the volume quartiles for leads as well as full IntelliApps right here, okay? And so the more stars, the higher volume of either IntelliApps or leads per posting. Over here with the dollar signs, what we're doing here is we're showing the quartiles of the cost associated with that specific merchant and placing an ad. And so the more dollar signs, the more expensive it's going to be, the less, the cheaper it's going to be. And then we have over here our qualified column right here. And this is going to show you how many leads have an MVR run on them, which is a pretty good metric for kind of gauging engaged application or applicants and quality of applicants. Over here, we have media CPQ, or media cost per qualified application. And this is the cost of running the ad per lead that has had an MVR on it. So it's taking into account cost versus this qualified column right here. Then last but certainly not least, we have our CCPQ, or comprehensive cost per qualified lead. And what this is taking into account is the fact that time is money, right? We only have so many hours in the day. And so we're thinking about is how much time does it take to get a qualified lead, and how much do you have to pay for those leads? And so, if we think about it, kind of, I put myself in your shoes. It's like, are you the main recruiter? Are you the processor? Or do you wear 7 billion hats and, you're going from recruiting to grabbing lunch for orientation class, right? So this metric is for you. We're taking into account the capacity that you have in the day to manage either a really high volume or maybe a lower volume of applications. And so you have the ability to, with each of these columns, filter by whichever measure you think is most important to you when you're looking at setting up an advertising campaign. So you can click twice and filter each of those different columns. And so all in all, here with the merchant discovery tool, what we're really pushing is agency. And full transparency is, again, epitomizes what we're really going for in the job store. And funny enough, that's also what truckers want in their job search. And so with that being said, now that we've talked about our first main job store tab, I'm going to navigate over here to the next tab in the job store, which is the company information tab. And I'll let that load. And this is the information that will be displayed to drivers on the driver Pulse app. And what it does is it gives you the chance to tell the driver a little bit about your company and what you have to offer. And so my recommendation here, guys, is to stand out and essentially drive more attention to your company. I think the best way to phrase this company information or build it out is to make it into a quote unquote mini job ad. We don't want to put every last detail in there, but I think that what we can do here is not only tell the driver a little about the company, but most importantly, telling them what you can offer them. So if you want to put a little bit of information in there about your pay, your home time, maybe you have fantastic benefits, your equipment's brand new, things that are going to make you stand out a bit, tell them a little bit about, what they would be doing if they applied to you. I think that makes a really powerful company information section. And always just make sure you click save company information. I have forgotten to do that more times than I can count. That button's kind of hidden there. Just make sure you click save company info before moving on. All right, so I'm going to skip over the active jobs tab real fast. Now I'm going to pop over in here to analytics. So again, for my numbers folks on the call, this is going to be your favorite tab. So again, in the spirit of full transparency here in the job store, this analytics tab is where you can keep track of what each advertising campaign has produced, right? We want to know, what are we paying for? What are we getting? So you're going to be able to, at a glance, see which specific active jobs or which ads are posted, what platform they're posted on, how much you're spending on each job on each platform, as well as how many lead applications and how many full and tele apps have been produced from each ad. And in some cases, you'll also be able to see the conversion rate from lead app to full application. So how many of the individuals that filled out a lead form went ahead and automatically upgraded to that Intelli app. And so I think that this analytics tab here is really, really powerful because it allows us to monitor not only the current month's campaign, but look back historically to see the results of past campaigns so that we can analyze the results, really make data-driven decisions about ad placement moving forward. So I can go ahead and toggle back to November 2025, click Run Report, and I can look at the details for that month's campaign as well. As you can see, it's a little bit different here. And so our goal here in the job store is to maximize every last advertising dollar. And what we can use this analytics tab to do is help make educated decisions as to where we're seeing you get the biggest bang for your buck, right? And then of course, move accordingly, adjust accordingly, and improve advertising campaigns moving forward. And so that is our analytics tab right here. Now we're gonna get to the fun part. We're gonna go over to the active jobs tab right here in the middle. And I like to think of this as your ads library, okay? This is where we're going to be able to create and manage and just manage all of your unique advertisements. So here in my list, as you can see, I have a lot of different ads. I actually have 2 pages of ads. And so you can create as many ads as you'd like, and you have full control over which ads you'd like posted at any given time. So just by creating an active job, I'm going to click into my OTR company job right here, that has location sets. And by having this active job created and location sets signifying where the job is going to be advertised and essentially where you'd like to hire them from, this active job is going to be visible to drivers in the Driver Pulse app, which is giving you basically a free organic advertisement in the Driver Pulse app. So even added visibility, adding on to that company information, which is also going to be visible. And so I'm going to go back, and for all intents and purposes, I'm going to consider the fact that maybe some of you have not created an active job before. And so I'm going to quickly walk you through how to do so. So the first thing you'll want to do is pop over here and click this blue Add a New Job button. If I click that, it's going to pop open the active job. So the first thing we want to take a look at, and this will only apply to carriers that have more than one application version, is just making sure that when you're building the ad, you have the correct application version for that specific advertisement, okay? So I'm gonna choose my Tenstreet demo app version. We have the next field, which is internal name, and this is for your use only. Driver's not going to see this. You are only going to see this. And this is just so that you can tell the difference between who is applying to what job. So when an application comes in from any job we post in the job store, it will tell you the internal name of the job that driver applied for. Then we scroll down here to our posting title. This is actually what drivers are going to see, okay? And this is the first thing that a driver is going to see when they look at your ad. So we want to keep this really clean cut and to the point. We want it to be informative. Here in these job title tips, you can see some examples of some good titles. These are buzzwords, guys, right? CDLA, truck driver, owner operator. Maybe give them a little something about the route. Is it local, regional, OTR, home weekly, heavy haul, car haul, things like that. That it's really telling them, hey, this is the type of job we're advertising. Not so great titles. We don't want emojis or 18,000 different dollar signs. We can tell them how much they're going to be making below here in the job pay and benefits section. So keep those short, sweet, to the point. Just tell them what type of job you're advertising. We have our job pay and benefits section. And guys, this is incredibly important because, of course, in the spirit of transparency, honesty is the best policy. However, there are specific states here in the United States that have pay transparency laws. And what that means is that to advertise a job, we have to legally include a minimum and a maximum pay. We can include this, we can use several different unit measures. It could be per mile, hour, day, week, or year. We just have to include that min and max, as well as a disclosure of benefits. So do you offer benefits? We could say health, dental, vision, insurance provided. Or if it's a 1099 position, no benefits offered. We just have to be sure to disclose that, okay? And even if you're not posting your job in a state that has pay transparency laws, again, in the spirit of transparency, I think it always is kind of honesty is the best policy here, helpful to fill this out and just provide the driver with as much information as possible. So next we have job enabled. So I mentioned that just by having an active job that your ad's going to be visible in Driver Pulse. But let's say that you want to close that position. You're not hiring for that right now, but we still want to keep that job in our ads library for future use down the road when you might need to post it again. Well, no problem. All we can do is go ahead and if we toggle job enabled to no, it's going to remove that from Driver Pulse. And if you want to turn it back on, have that visible, we can just toggle it back to yes. Now we get into the fun part, the meat and potatoes. We have our job requirement and job description. I'd say that my rule of thumb here, specifically with job requirements, is keep it short, sweet, and to the point. What we want to do is include those knockout items. So things that would immediately disqualify a driver. That could be any endorsements they might have to have, years of experience, any restrictions they can or cannot have, or how many accidents or incidents within a certain time period. We want to keep that real in as few words as possible, short, sweet, to the point. Again, just including those knockout items. Our job description, in the same spirit, short, sweet, and to the point, takes the cake here. What we want to avoid is paragraphs of information because the bottom line is the driver's just not going to read it, okay? What they want to see, a few things, and that's going to be, what are you going to offer me, right? Tell me a little bit about what I'm going to be doing and what I'm going to get from it. And so that's going to include information like pay or home time, any bonus potential, so that they have the chance to make extra money. Any benefits offered? Do I have access to health insurance, 401k? What equipment am I going to be driving? What are my running lanes? Or any perks you might have, like do you have a pet or rider policy? Maybe I want to bring Fido with me in the truck. That's really important to me. Things that are going to make you stand out a little bit. But again, keeping it into easily consumable, clearly outlined sections, which is a couple bullet points outlining what you can offer, is a really, really great way just to, again, in the spirit of transparency, get everything out there and try and show them what you have to offer them. I'm going to go ahead and skip over the job filters real fast because we're going to take a deep dive into that in just a moment when I talk about Pulse. The last thing I have in here is work list routing and recruiter routing. So we have the ability to assign all applications from a specific active job to a work list, keeping that workflow clean cut, making sure everything is going to where it needs to go. You can also assign all applications to a specific recruiter or recruiters. You can choose one or more than one. And if you choose more than one, then any applications received will just be round robined between the recruiters that you choose. All righty. And so finally, I'm going to go ahead and close out here. Maybe. Let's reload this. Go back to the job store. Once you create your active job, the next step is it's going to ask you to create a location set, okay? And so this is how we're going to signify to the different job boards and to the drivers where you're able to hire. So I'm going to click add a location set here. There's a couple different ways that you can do this. If I scroll down here, you're going to see we have 3 different options: the polygon tool, adding a postal code radius, or choosing a state. So you have the ability to choose full states if you like. If you want to advertise in a statewide location set, you can choose full states. You could also do a mixture of states and cities. For example, I can hire in Alabama, Arizona, and the city of Dallas, Texas. You can do a mixture of both. You don't have to select any states. You can just do cities or zip codes to create a radius around a certain market. You have a map here. You can zoom in, add some cities within that. If you want to create a 50-mile radius, throw in a couple extra cities out here just to expand that hiring radius a little bit. Finally, we have our polygon tool. And I wanted to stress this before I even show it to you. This tool is only going to apply to the pulse match advertising vendor. So if only use this polygon tool if this ad is going to be posted on pulse match. And so to use the polygon tool, this gives you the ability to manually create a radius around a market. So for example, I can click down here. I want to hire around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, roughly from, let's do Tyler, Texas, over here to Waco. I'll zoom out. I'm going to go over here a little bit outside of Fort Worth and then up north here. And I can double click once I'm done creating that outline, and that creates my polygon hiring area. So it's a nice way to manually do that for your pulse match ads instead of having to type in a lot of zip codes and manually create that ad that way. And as you can see here, it automatically populated those different zip codes that are within the polygon that I have set up here. All right. And so I'll just close out of there. And that's how you create an active job and a location set. So now that we have an active job created, I want to go back and let's talk about those job filters, which are incredibly important because this is what's going to drive the search results for job-seeking drivers using the Driver Pulse app. So as I mentioned, just by being a Tenstreet client and having an active job and a location set, your job is listed for free in the Driver Pulse app. However, it's just kind of floating out there organically. However, by using Pulse Match, which we touched on earlier, right here, which is our pay per application solution here in the job store, we're giving you the ability to push your active jobs in front of drivers who are looking for a job like what you have to offer. And so you guys, there are 3 different levels to Pulse Match. We have standard match, preferred match, and super match. Standard is going to be $50, preferred is $55, and super match is $70 per application received. And the way that this pay per application model works is we're going to set a budget, so one-time flat rate, and essentially we're going to invest a dollar amount for the amount of applications that you'd like to receive. Every time you receive an application or a pulse match, that application amount will be deducted from your budget total. If you max out your budget, which means that you've received all the applications you budgeted for, that pulse match ad will go ahead and turn off. However, you always have the option to add additional funds to keep those matches coming in if you want to keep that pipeline open. If you don't max out your budget, or if you want to turn off your pulse match ad at any point during the campaign, any unused funds from matches not received will return to your account total up here. And so you can go ahead and reallocate that to another job or another platform if you like. And so very important note, you can always turn on or off your pulse match ads at any point in time, given your hiring needs. So a lot of flexibility there in terms of when you need to post ads. All right, so let's go take a look at those filters again. And let me pop in here into my active job. I'm going to scroll down, and here we have our job filters. And as I mentioned, that these are super important because this is going to drive the search results for drivers looking for a job using the Driver Pulse app. And so you're going to see there are 2 columns here. We have the column here on the left and the column here on the right that says Pulse Match Level. Let's start with the column to the left. So these are the different filters, and it's really important when filling these out that we're matching or aligning with what we have set up in the active job. So we have minimum experience up here, some drop-down options, route type, driver type, equipment, a lot of options there. license class, if they need a TWIC card, yes or no, slip seating, yes or no, average weekly miles, and then if they need any endorsements or transmission, okay? And so make sure we always fill these out to the left. And then to the right, we have the pulse match level. And so we can use these more restrictive job filters to target your ideal applicant. So as I mentioned before, we have those 3 different pulse match levels. We have standard match, preferred match, and super match. And the way that we're going to set one up as either standard, preferred, or super is by using these pulse match levels. So if I have everything set to display, that is going to be a standard match. However, minimum experience and driver type will have the always required set there. We can't change that, so don't worry about that. But if I have all of these pulse match levels set to display, that's going to be a standard pulse match. I can also change them to preferred. And that's the next level up, right? Preferred match. And so a great use case for this would be, maybe you prefer that they have a doubles or triples endorsement when you hire them. However, you have a program in place to help them get it, so it's not necessarily required. Same for any of these endorsements, right? You can say, something's preferred, not absolutely required. You might help them get it when you hire them. And then finally, we have super match. And so I can change a specific filter on the left-hand side column to required. And if I change any of these to required, that's going to turn our active job into a super match. And what that means is that on the driver side, if they do not have this selected in their driver profile, they will not see your ad, okay? And so again, touching on, we can use these more restrictive job filters to really hone in and target your ideal applicant. So now that we've talked about what this looks like from the driver's or from the carrier side, the active job level, I'd like to segue over and take a look at how Pulse Match looks from a driver standpoint. So I'm going to go over to my Pulse Match account here. I'm going to go to my homepage. When I first log into Pulse, full disclosure, don't have my CDL, probably shouldn't. But for all intents and purposes, here's my profile. I'm going to go and be prompted to fill out these job filters. And guess what, guys? Those are the exact same filters that we just had to fill out in the active job. You're signifying to the driver what you need from them, and they're signifying what they're looking for. So same thing, location, experience, what type of job they're looking for, as well as what they'd like to haul, route type, TWIC cards, slip seating, endorsements, license class, and transmission type. And so I have to fill out those same filters so that if I go to look for a job, my job feed is showing me jobs that match what I'm looking for as a truck driver. And so let's just say I pulled over at a way station and I'm like, I need to make a change, career change time. I'm going to log into Pulse and I'm going to go ahead and click on the jobs button here. It's going to fetch me some jobs. And what's going to show up first in my jobs feed are going to be my super matches. And so you can see there with the little fire emoji, we have a super match on our hands here with IMG Trucking. And so again, that means that in the active job, you set a couple of these filters to required. If I, Sarah, the driver, did not have tank, Class A, or OTR selected in my driver profile, I would not be seeing the super match right here. I can take a look at the ad. I can read more, look at their description and requirements, pay transparency, and all those benefits. And if I click apply now and submit an application, that's going to be a super match for this carrier. And so after my super matches, I got a couple of them, we're going to see our standard Pulse matches, okay? Where I can take a look at this blue bar here, highlighting that says match power. And I can also see the highlighted filters here to see that match power for that specific job. If I scroll down a little bit, you'll see that match power starts to go down a little bit. So those jobs with the highest match power are going to be populating towards the top here. And it doesn't look like I have any preferred matches here, but just to be clear, there will be clear preference indicators for preferred match. There will be blue arrows for met criteria and red arrows for unmet criteria. All right. And so we touched on super match, preferred match, and standard Pulse match and how that displays as a driver and a carrier. On the driver side, there's a couple other ways that they can find jobs within Pulse as well, though, including using the handy dandy search bar up here. So I could search for a job in a specific city. Let's say I'm in Chicago. I search Chicago, and my search is going to populate, found me 424 jobs that are located in Chicago. On the flip side, I can also search by job type. I want a local home daily job, right? I need to be home more often. I'm going to search for local home daily. And wowza, I got 1,049 results. That's a lot, right? And so I want to filter that down a little bit. Well, guess what? I can use our handy pull spot right here to help cut down that list. And so if I click on pull spot, it's going to give me some options to filter this down. I think that I want something, I have my hazmat endorsement, I'm going to click hazmat. And so that whittled my results down from 10,000 or 1,000 to 179. And so it's a really, after I made that selection, I was able to narrow that list down significantly to produce a more targeted list of jobs. So all in all, by using JobStore and Pulse Match, we're giving you a really incredible opportunity to leverage our Driver Pulse network for your recruiting needs. We have over 400,000 active monthly users that are submitting applications each month. And whether you are using standard, preferred, Supermatch, or a mixture of those, which you can do, by the way, Pulse is an immensely powerful tool that you have here in your dashboard to produce high intent applications to help meet your hiring goals. And with all that being said, believe it or not, we have even more JobStore tools and solutions to share with you. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it on to Miss Sylvia, who will be walking you through some additional JobStore features.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Awesome. Let's go ahead and just dive right in. Okay. So now that we've learned about the power of the Pulse app for drivers, we can also utilize the Intella app and Pulse app with other job boards. Our integration with job boards is laser focused on conversion, right? So conversion to Intella apps for you. We need that DOT compliant application to make a driver hire. Conversion is the key to recruiters being successful, and advertising through the job store provides automatic assistance with that task. So let's take Indeed as an example. We know Indeed has their proprietary lead application, the name, phone number, and email address. Through Tenstreet's integration with Indeed, we provide and encourage applicants to fill out your unique Intella app. The driver will read and consume your ad on Indeed. They hit the Indeed apply, which submits their name, phone number, and email address to you. But then they receive a notification that they have one more step to complete. They tap that button that takes them straight to your Intella app. Since 95% of drivers have the Intella app filled out, it takes them less than 5 minutes to fill out that full DOT application and get that over to you as well. If they don't complete that step, Indeed will send them a reminder, an email reminder to complete that step. So you're getting even more recruiting assistance just by using the job store to place ads on Indeed. Okay, let's talk about one tap apply. Here's where we can really harness the power of the Pulse app and use it with other sources of ad visibility. If we are advertising on any single source or direct job board like Facebook, Google, Instagram, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, etc., when the driver submits their initial application, whether that be a lead application, Intella App Micro from a landing page, or what have you, they will receive a notification on their phone through the Pulse app that says, would you like to submit your Intella app to XYZ carrier? Yes or no? And with one tap, you can have their pre-filled Intella app information as well. From there, we can further start to engage and better yet qualify that driver. We can set up custom prompts with PulseBot to ask that driver our most important questions to help qualify. For example, do you have a hazmat endorsement, or do you live in the Chicago area? That engagement with that driver is immediate, and we know that time is of the essence when working with applications. Clients that have been utilizing One Tap Apply have seen 103% improvement in the number of full applications. 103%. 85% improvement in the number of engaged drivers, and 65% more hires. This is huge for any recruiting team, any size company, any number of drivers that you're trying to hire. So One Tap Apply is widely useful. So talk to your advisor about turning that feature on and meet with a concierge to help start your ads through the job store. All right, let's talk about some more features in the job store. All right, the Application Center. This is the very last tab in JobStore, and this is where your unique Intella app lives. I get asked all the time, like, where's the actual link? So it does live in your JobStore under the last tab, Application Center. And as you can see, if you have more than one application version, they're all going to show up there. The full application will be there for you, as well as lead applications. It's always a good idea to know where this is and view your Intella app, because there may be changes to your requirements that need updated. And it's also good to check the phone number and address for changes as well. So right below that, you'll see there is a landing page feature for you to utilize. So you can drag and drop photos to create custom landing pages here. Why are landing pages important? It is you get less dropout rate if we are advertising on social media, Facebook, Google, Instagram. We want to capture as much of the applicant's info as possible with every click on social media ads in a quick and easy format. So if our call to action on my Facebook ad was visit our webpage or call us now, drivers will easily fall out of that funnel and it's wasted ad dollars. So with the Intella app Micro, which is what you'll yield from landing pages, it will include the applicant's full contact info with full address, email, phone number. But we also have 4 qualifying questions that ask about experience, job history, accidents, and violations in a quick and easy drop-down format. This in itself is good information that recruiters can start to qualify the applicants with. But again, when paired with one tap apply, we can convert this quick social media submission into an Intella app with one simple tap on the driver's phone. Okay, so this is my work list home screen. There's remember, no importing or exporting. Recruiters will never have to make the decision to carve out time to work in one dashboard for contacting new applicants and then switch over to another for processing. Everything's in one. All applications will flow directly into your work list, and you'll always know the source of that application, whether it be Indeed, Facebook, Craigslist, etc. You can sort by work lists if you're utilizing work lists in your active job, so you can work different locations at a time. You can work local drivers now and then work OTR later in the day. Anything that will help your workflow, utilize those work lists. You'll also receive fly-in notifications for any pulse match so that you can prioritize those Intella apps and start engaging with the applicant in real time as soon as the application is submitted. And you'll also receive email notifications when you receive new applications. So again, we can have as many active jobs or job ads running for multiple positions, and we're always going to know which job that applicant is applying to. We will also have those referral codes from the job board source in the application as well. This is going to factor into our beautiful reports in analytics and origins, where we can really drill down to see our cost per application and our cost per hire. The most beautiful part about JobStore and this webinar is that you don't have to memorize or learn any of it. You have a dedicated concierge that can assist you for as much or as little as you want. We can assist you with writing the job ads, revising the job ads, making sure that your ad is SEO rich for each job board. And we check in with you each month to see if there's anything we need to change in the ad or with the ad plan. We have the data on which job boards are working for your unique positions with the merchant discovery tool and years of experience to help you create the ad plan. And with that, we will go ahead and take questions. Tina, it's very good to have you in here. You do want to mention that with those location sets, you can get applications that are outside of the location set. That is true. Due to federal law, we cannot stop somebody from applying, but we can really try to target with our ad spend funds.
All right.
Any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't see any other questions. Sarah, do you? Oh, there we go.
All right.
Does the MVR have to be ordered through Tenstreet to count, or will it count if the MVR is in the document? Let's see. When you say count for the MVR to be ordered, I'm not sure what you mean. Sarah, do you have any?
I'm not positive what that's referring to, or will it count the MVR as in documents? I am not sure what that's referring to, and what we can do. MVR ordered. Angie, let's get us back. George, I think you're right. Angie, are you referring to the percent qualified in merchant discovery? Angie, we're going to double check on that for you. I just want to double check I'm giving you the correct answer, but we will get back to you as soon as we get an answer to that.
Then, on the providing pricing on the job store concierge services, we come free with your dashboard. So you are always welcome to contact us for concierge services, and we're always happy to meet you.
Awesome. Are we able to see all the stats you mentioned in our main area? David, is that referring to the merchant discovery tool? Okay, we'll come back to David.
Yep.
All right. And then.
Thank you, George.
Is the only way to generate additional free organic traffic via the Pulse application, or are there other tools that we can utilize on the free advertisement side? Other than Pulse, the only other free advertisement solution that we have in the job store is Free Indeed. So Free Indeed, as well as just creating an active job and having a location set and having that visible on Driver Pulse, those are going to be your organic or free options there in the job store. Is the Indeed expense going to be less cost if we go through Indeed or Tenstreet? Kathy, we would love to have a conversation with you about that. There's a little bit of nuance to understanding kind of what you're currently doing with Indeed versus what we can do on our end. And so we would love to have that conversation with you over a quick Zoom call. The concierge team is here to help answer all questions about that.
Where do you go to adjust the cities as far as the hiring map? Betty, that is in the location set. So I went to the application center and selected the correct job, hit edit and took out the cities we no longer hire of, and hit save job. However, when I open it back up, it goes back to the previous. Betty, I'm going to take a look at your job. I'm going to message you directly after this call so we can kind of take care of that together. Does Tenstreet integrate with other applicant tracking systems other than Indeed? Well, yes. You mean other job boards? Yes. Applicant tracking systems, which we would, I guess, consider HRIS systems, yes, as well.
And David, you mentioned the stats concerning drivers applying for position areas from ETC. So of course, once an application comes into your dashboard, we absolutely can track through reporting, where these drivers are applying from. On the flip side, for something like Pulse, what we can do is there is actually a heat map that we can share with you that'll show kind of where we're seeing the majority of our applications come from. And so we have a data visualization for you to take a look at, kind of a graph there to show you where we see the most amount of applies coming from all throughout the United States, if that would be helpful. All right, Sylvia, am I missing anything?
I think we got everybody.
All right.
So you guys know, in your job store tool, there is a button on that very first job store tab. It's a red button that says contact job store team. And if you have any questions or can think of anything after this that you would like help with, if you click that red easy button in your job store tab, somebody's going to reach out to you within 24 hours. So it might be one of us, it might be another member of the team, but we're always happy to help answer questions. Okay.
Awesome.
And with that, we'll go ahead and close the webinar out and give you guys some time back in your day.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, so much for taking the time to sit and learn with us today. And again, if you have any questions, reach out to either your advisor or click on that contact the Job Store Concierge team, and we are more than happy to help you with anything advertising in the job store.